Welcome to another deep dive. This time we'll be looking at Strength and Beauty, A Tarot Journey by David Wason.
Oh, yeah. I loved that book. It's such a cool blend of fiction and like Robyn's source, the main character.
Yeah.
And then there's the nonfiction part with all the tarot insights. It's really unique.
It is. So for our listeners who maybe haven't had a chance to read it yet, each chapter is kind of set up like
Oh, yeah.
in a really cool way.
It starts with one of Robyn's experiences, these like captivating encounters.
Yeah.
And then it shifts to analyze a specific Major Arcana card. Like it connects the card's themes back to what she's going through.
Yeah.
And even brings in examples from other stories and myths.
And the way he brings in the myths.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's just brilliant.
It is. And then to top it all off,
Yeah.
each chapter ends with these really insightful summaries and prompts. It's almost like a guided journal in a way.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it really encourages you to apply those lessons to your own life.
Exactly. It's like he's taking you by the hand and saying, okay, now how does this relate to you?
It's a really fascinating approach because I think it brings the tarot to life in a way that feels very relatable and accessible.
Totally. Instead of just presenting the card meanings in a dry, textbook format,
Right.
he uses Robyn's journey to illustrate how these archetypes show up in everyday life,
Yeah, and it makes the learning process so much more engaging.
It does, for sure.
So tell me more about Robyn. Where does her journey begin?
Well, the book opens with Robyn feeling super lost and stuck in her life. She's going through the motions, but deep down she knows something's missing. And this feeling of being lost, of not quite living your best life,
Yeah,
I think that resonates with a lot of people.
absolutely. It's that sense of yearning for something more, but not knowing where to find it.
Exactly.
So what happens next?
Well, she stumbles upon this charming little bookstore. And Wason describes it in such detail.
I know I was going to say,
You can practically smell the old book.
I feel like you're stepping into Narnia.
Yes. Perfect way to put it. And it's in this magical bookstore that Robyn finds the tarot deck.
Oh, of course.
The shopkeeper even says something like, that one's special. It has a way of finding the people it's meant for,
Wow.
which obviously piques Robyn's interest.
Yeah, like it's fate. It was waiting for her.
Exactly. And what's the first card she draws? The Fool, which is all about beginnings and the call to adventure.
It's like the universe is giving her a nudge saying, time to take a leap of faith.
Exactly. And that's what she does. She walks out of her life with just the knapsack and this deck of cards, ready for anything.
That takes courage. I admire her willingness to just step into the unknown, trusting that something will guide her.
That trust is at the heart of the Fool's energy. It's surrendering to the journey, even when you don't know where it leads.
I love that. So tell me about some of the people Robyn meets on this journey.
Well, one of the first is Felix. He embodies the magician archetype. He's the street performer, super skilled, charismatic.
Yeah.
And he teaches Robyn about focusing her tools, her will, and her intention. Like, he's showing her that she already has everything she needs to create the life she wants. She just needs to learn how to use it.
Exactly. He helps her understand that, like, a magician focusing your willpower and intention can unlock your potential.
Wow.
And what's fascinating is how Wason connects this to the magician card.
Right.
He highlights the symbolism of the magician's tools, the wand, the cup, the sword, the pentacle.
Yeah.
Each tool represents a different aspect of our inner resources, and Felix helps Robyn see how to use them to manifest her desires.
That's a great point. It reminds me of how we were talking about the book being more than just the plot.
Yeah.
It's about understanding those deeper symbolic meanings.
Exactly. And speaking of symbolic meanings, Robyn's next encounter is with Leela, who embodies the Empress archetype.
Okay. Now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about Leela.
So Leela is this incredible gardener. She has this beautiful space, so nurturing and abundant, just like the Empress herself.
Wow.
And she teaches Robyn about the importance of nurturing herself, trusting her intuition, allowing things to grow at their own pace. It's a lesson about embracing that feminine energy of creation and abundance.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is so relevant in our fast-paced world today,
It is. We get so caught up in striving and achieving that we forget to slow down, to nurture ourselves, to appreciate the present moment.
And that's one of the key takeaways from Leela. It's not just about taking action. It's about aligning with the natural rhythms of growth.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is just be present and allow things to flow.
Exactly.
So who does Robyn meet next?
Well, next, Robyn goes to visit Sienna, who's this amazing horsewoman. She embodies the chariot archetype.
Okay.
She's training these two incredible horses, one black and one white.
Oh, wow.
And she uses them to teach Robyn about balance.
I could just picture it, those contrasting horses representing those like opposing forces we feel within ourselves.
It's such a powerful visual. And what's really cool is that Sienna doesn't just talk about balance.
Right.
She has Robyn walk a tightrope to physically experience that idea of finding equilibrium.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to illustrate the point.
It is. It's not just about reaching a destination. It's about navigating the journey with grace and control.
Yeah, it's not about suppressing one force or the other. It's about harnessing both and finding that sweet spot in the middle.
Exactly. And it ties in beautifully with the Chariot card, which is all about willpower and direction,
Right.
but not in a forceful or aggressive way. It's more about aligning your desires with your actions and moving forward with purpose.
So it sounds like Sienna's lesson has a lot to do with self-mastery,
Absolutely.
not just in terms of like external achievements, but also in terms of mastering our own inner landscape.
Exactly. And speaking of mastering our inner landscape, Robyn's next encounter is with Sage, who embodies the hanged man archetype.
Okay, now this is where things get interesting.
Right.
Because when Robyn first meets Sage, he's literally hanging upside down from a tree.
I know, right? It's an image that definitely stays with you.
It must have been a bit startling for Robyn.
Oh, for sure. But what's even more surprising is that Sage is totally at peace in this seemingly uncomfortable position. Yeah, he's not struggling or resisting. He's completely surrendered to the experience.
Wow.
And that's the essence of the hanged man. It's about letting go, shifting your perspective, seeing things from a different angle.
That's such a powerful concept, especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with information and stimuli.
It is. It's a reminder to slow down, to pause, to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And Sage actually gives Robyn a little infinity symbol charm as a reminder of this lesson.
Oh, I like that.
It represents the infinite possibilities that open up when we surrender to the flow of life.
It's like a tangible reminder to let go of control and trust that things will work out as they're meant to.
Exactly.
It sounds like Robyn is really starting to embrace the transformative power of these encounters.
She is. And her journey continues with Aurelia, who embodies the temperance archetype.
Okay.
Aurelia is this vibrant artist, and her work is all about alchemy.
Alchemy.
Yeah, blending seemingly opposite elements into a harmonious whole.
Well, that's fascinating. It sounds like Aurelia's art is a reflection of the temperance card itself.
Exactly.
Which is all about finding that balance and harmony within ourselves.
You got it. And she has these incredible paintings that seem to shift and change depending on how you look at them.
Wow.
She uses water and firelight and shadow to create these captivating visual metaphors for the process of integration.
So it's like she's showing Robyn that true beauty comes from embracing both the light and shadow within ourselves.
Yes.
Finding that delicate balance between those opposing forces.
Exactly. And I think that resonates with so many people, especially those of us who are constantly striving for perfection.
It is. It's a reminder that our imperfections are what make us unique.
Right.
What give us depth and character.
Totally.
And it's in the integration of those seemingly opposite qualities that we find our true wholeness.
I love that. Okay, so are you ready to hear about the next person Robyn meets?
Oh, absolutely. I'm hooked.
Okay.
So who does Robyn meet next on her journey?
Well, after Aurelia, she meets Maya, who embodies the star archetype.
The star.
Yeah. And this is where we see a shift, toward hope and renewal.
Oh, yeah.
After some of the heavier lessons Robyn's been working through.
Right, because the star card is all about finding light in the darkness, trusting that even after hardship, there's a chance to start anew.
Exactly.
So what's Maya like?
She's this incredibly serene woman. She's collecting water from a spring and filling these 7 jars with it.
7 jars.
Yeah, each jar represents a different hope, a wish, a dream.
Oh, wow.
It's such a beautiful visual. It's like the potential that exists within each of us, the constellation of hopes we carry.
I love that imagery. It's like even when we feel lost, we all have these inner reserves of hope and resilience.
Exactly. And Maya teaches Robyn about nurturing those hopes, tending to them like a garden, trusting that they'll eventually blossom.
It's a powerful message about the importance of self-belief and having faith in our own dreams.
It is.
So what happens next?
Well, this is where things take a bit of a darker turn. Robyn finds herself in this deserted town and has this flashback to a traumatic experience from her childhood.
Oh, no.
Her parents are having this explosive argument.
Wow, that's intense. So this must be where she encounters the tower, right?
You got it, the tower.
Because that card is often associated with, like, sudden upheaval and unexpected change.
It is. And the way Wason portrays this encounter is so brilliant. The whole town feels like a reflection of Robyn's inner turmoil.
Oh, wow.
Everything feels unstable and precarious, like it could crumble at any moment.
It's like a visceral representation of what it feels like when our world comes crashing down.
Exactly. The tower represents a breakdown of the structures we've built around ourselves,
Right.
the beliefs and patterns that no longer serve us. And while it can be painful, it creates space for something new to emerge.
So after the tower, I imagine Robyn is feeling pretty raw and vulnerable.
She is,
Yeah.
but as you might expect, after the storm comes the calm.
Okay.
Robyn encounters the sun card, and it's like everything brightens up,
Mhm.
literally and figuratively. She's in this beautiful meadow, bathed in sunlight. Children are playing a white horse is grazing peacefully.
It's such a contrast to the darkness of the tower. It sounds like a return to innocence.
It is a reminder of the simple joys in life.
And I love how Wason weaves in those flashbacks to Robyn's childhood, those moments of pure joy and wonder. It's like a reminder that even after hardship and loss, we can still access that inner spark of joy.
Yes.
Reconnect with our childlike sense of wonder.
Exactly. It's like that inner light never really goes out.
It sounds like Robyn's journey is really starting to come full circle.
It is, and as she approaches the end, she encounters the judgment card.
Judgment.
Yeah, which can be a bit intimidating. But in this context, it's more about self-reflection and forgiveness.
So it's not about being judged by some external force, but about looking inward and acknowledging our own truths,
Exactly.
our own shortcomings, and choosing to move forward with compassion and understanding.
Throughout it, Robyn encounters this fiery preacher who's all about repentance and judgment.
Oh.
And it triggers this whole internal reckoning for her. She realizes she's been judging herself harshly, holding herself to impossible standards, carrying around guilt and shame from her past.
It sounds like she's finally ready to release those self-imposed limitations and embrace herself fully, flaws and all.
That's it. And through this self-forgiveness, she's able to step into the final part of her journey, the world.
The world, the culmination of the entire journey.
Yes, a symbol of wholeness, integration, fulfillment.
So what happens in this final encounter?
Robyn returns to the village where she started and meets up with Emerson.
Emerson.
Yeah, the mysterious figure who's been woven throughout her journey.
Right.
And it's not this big dramatic reunion. It's quiet, honest, real.
I like that. It sounds like they've both done a lot of inner work and are finally able to meet each other authentically.
Exactly. And they just sit by the fountain and talk. It feels like this huge weight has been lifted from both of them.
It's a beautiful ending to Robyn's journey.
It is.
And it sounds like Wason is saying that the true destination of any journey of self-discovery is ultimately a return to ourselves.
Yes, but a more whole and integrated version of ourselves.
Exactly. And he ends the book with this incredibly powerful line: every journey leads you home, and return changed.
I get chills every time I read that.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that change is inevitable.
Right.
We're constantly evolving, shedding old layers, embracing new perspectives. And ultimately, those journeys, those experiences, those encounters all lead us back to ourselves, at a slightly different version of ourselves.
A more whole version, hopefully.
Exactly. So for anyone listening who's feeling lost or questioning their path or just curious about the power of the tarot,
Yeah,
Strength and Beauty is a must-read.
it really is.
It's a reminder that the journey is just as important as the destination,
Absolutely.
and that the most profound transformations often happen when we least expect them.
It's like Wason is saying, embrace the journey, embrace the change. And you might be surprised where you end up.
And who you become along the way. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into Strength and Beauty, a tarot journey by David Wason.
It has. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.